Apparently someone whacked some tariffs on some goods somewhere around the world this week, Rita and James. What a strange week it's been. Everyone getting very, very upset, Rita.
Yes, it's almost like these people haven't been paying attention for the last, I don't know, not just a year, but years. Donald Trump has been very clear in his intentions to rectify what he sees as America getting a rough deal in these relationships. He's been talking about this since the 1980s. I played some footage on my program where back on the Oprah program, of all things, back in the 1980s, he was talking about this very issue. And he's never stopped talking about it. So they either did not think, James, that he was going to follow through and do as he promised to do, or they just like having meltdowns, because some of the insanity we're hearing this week about this is the end of the US alliance, we're in peril. I mean, calm down, folks. Calm down.
You know, I think I'm going to go with option 2 here. They just actually like having a meltdown.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
So you know the tariffs have, and we're going to talk a bit more later in the program too. Because we're going to have Christian Whitten on it. I'm going to be talking about it more in the second hour and about what the real strategy is here. But the really interesting thing here, you know, like the share market has gone down quite substantially in the last few days. We know this. We also know the share market is actually quite overvalued, okay?
It was a correction that was coming.
It's a correction that was coming. But the real point to all of this here is this is not just about manufacturing trade. It is about manufacturing, and it is about really bringing back industrial sovereignty and industrial capability to the United States. Australia needs to wake up to what is happening here, because what Trump is about is saying basically that a nation that cannot make its own industrial products cannot survive. And it goes of a piece with his calls on everyone to get their defense spending up to 3%, which Labor disgracefully failed to do in the budget that they had down a couple of weeks ago. But the other thing, too, this is also really, and I'm going to walk through the steps of this a bit later in the program, a way that they're going to essentially refinance the debt, get the Treasury paying a much lower interest rate for the trillions of dollars of debt, and grow their way out of the deficit. And this, too, is something that Scott Bessent, the Treasury Secretary, he flagged this was what he wanted to do long before Election Day. So everybody who freaks out and says, we didn't see this coming, there's a strategy, it's rational, it's a big gamble, but if they didn't do this, literally the United States was going to slam into a mountain of debt.
Well, also the other thing, the bottom line is very, very simple. Would you rather live in a world where the leading economic power is the United States, or live in a world where the leading economic power is China? That's the bottom line. That's the simplest way of looking at it. For years now, we've had all our so-called, you know, boffins and experts and talking heads, the same ones who, Rita, this week were all in a head spin about what's going on with all the usual suspects, all the Trump derangement syndrome mob. They're all out there, hyperbole left, right and centre. The bottom line is we've all been complaining about the fact that China has been eating our lunch for decades. Now it's time. America has taken steps to correct that. Will Australia? That's the question.